Hello everyone, thank you for tuning into my channel. Today I'm coming to you with the video about my first miscarriage experience. So I basically took a lot of suggestions from my welcome video, and this particular suggestion came from BK Sister 718. Her question was about pregnancy, and I guess pregnancy is such a wide, general, broad topic. I decided that this would be a good place to start. But moving forward, if you do have suggestions, please make them really specific so that I can kind of figure out what to talk about. But anywho, so I'm obviously pregnant now. For those of you who, have been following me, I am pregnant with my second child. I'm halfway through. And the first time that I got pregnant was right after my wedding. I actually found out that I was pregnant like on my honeymoon. So it wasn't a honeymoon baby, but obviously I conceived before my honeymoon. And my husband and I were engaged at the time that we conceived, but we were trying to get pregnant because I basically said, I've always been a planner. I look far in the future when making decisions about anything. I never just look at tomorrow, when we get there, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, which is something that my husband always says. He says that all the time, and it gets me so upset because I like to plan things. Okay, that's gonna be another video. but basically, I kept thinking to myself, this was back in 2010, I said to myself, I'm getting married in July, and I know for some people it takes a while to get pregnant, and I would like to start working on it before we get to that point because it probably won't happen right away. So let's try beforehand. So we started trying in March of 2010. April came, we were not pregnant. We started again in April, tried for May, we were not pregnant. May to June, tried again, we were not pregnant. June to July, we found out we were pregnant. I started having some spotting and bleeding, and I was extremely nervous about what was going to happen with the baby. At about 8 weeks, we went into the doctors, and the doctor told us that the heart rate was really, really low. And at that point, I'm getting emotional. I never ever talked about this on camera. I've never talked about this to anyone really, like only a few people even know. But the doctor said that the heart rate was really low, and I remember the way he said it. He was like, do you guys want to keep it? And in my head I was just like, huh? Like I didn't understand what he meant. I guess I was being a little naive, or I was in denial of what he was asking. It was probably that. But, the only thing I could say was, what do you mean? And he said, most of the time when the heart rate is very low at this age, or gestational age, I should say, it either means that the baby is not going, it most likely means that the baby's not going to go to full term. So he said, come back in 2 weeks and we'll see what's going on. So we went back in 2 weeks. Now it was 10 weeks gestation, and the heart rate was almost non-existent. At that point, the doctor told us that most likely the baby is not going to live because, of course, 2 weeks ago it was stronger than it is now, but it was also weak at that point in time, and now it's so weak. So he basically said that we should come back next week because he felt like we would know within a week whether or not this was going to be a situation that was going to be negative or positive. So we went back the next week, 11 weeks, the heart rate was gone. I had gotten instructions from my doctor that I would most likely have a miscarriage naturally, and if I did, it would happen within the next week or two. He gave me some suggestions and advice on what to do. He told me that it would probably be painful, and that some ibuprofen would be enough to keep me comfortable. I could take 2 to 4. He told me to invest in a lot of sanitary pads because I would be bleeding really heavy. And he just told me to, drink a lot of fluids and eat right. So it happens. It definitely happens. Exactly what he said would happen. He had also said that if it didn't happen, that we would have to plan the procedure. So he was actually looking forward to it happening so that we didn't have to go that route. I wasn't looking forward to it happening at all. How about that? But so, you know, so it happened. I remember exactly where I was. I was at work. This is when I worked in an office. I was in the city, and I was sitting at my desk, and I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel anything. I remember getting up to go possibly copy some photos or copy something or make a scan or something like that. And I came back to my seat, and I saw that my seat was red. Red, red, red. And when I saw that image, I was in complete shock, because that obviously meant that I was bleeding. I ran to the bathroom, went to the bathroom, I used it, I saw that there was so much blood. I took off my pants. At the time I was wearing gray work pants that were kind of like a wolf material, so I was able to clean them in the sink. It worked out so great that I was kind of in the office late, so I didn't have any interruptions in the bathroom while I'm standing there with my pants and my panties off. Nobody came in at all. It was perfect. God just allowed for me to have that moment in time to just be alone and get this done and not be embarrassed by anyone coming in and interrupting me. He made that opportunity for me. So I cleaned my pants, and because I had just begun the bleeding, I was able to get all the blood out, and because my pants were very dark gray, you couldn't really tell that they were even like wet from water. So I immediately clocked out of work. I called my mom as I was walking to the Rite Aid that was near to my job, and I went to go get some pads because I didn't have them with me. I guess I just didn't think like it would happen at that time. I don't know. I wasn't prepared. And so that was how it happened. And you know, it took a little while. I think it took about a week and a half to 2 weeks for everything to pass. You get the most unbearable cramps ever, so I had to be consistent with the ibuprofen. At that time I never considered going to the doctors because my doctor had already explained that this would happen, so I never thought to go to the emergency room. I never thought to stay out of work either, because my doctor told me that ibuprofen would be enough to keep me comfortable. So I went to work every single day during those 2 weeks, and I would just keep popping the ibuprofen to keep me calm because my stomach was in so much pain. It is very painful having a miscarriage. You know, physically painful and also emotionally painful as well, because you're losing your child. I didn't think I was gonna cry. I wasn't planning on it, at least, but it's emotionally painful because, you know, if you were planning to have a baby, and even if you weren't planning on having a baby and it just kind of happened, when you have life inside of you, from the moment you find out, when you take that pregnancy test, you immediately feel a bond. And there's nothing in the world that can make you comfortable with the fact that you've now you're losing your baby. And I think what also makes it really hard is that it happens for so long. Like, if you just lost a baby in one day, you could spend, you know, the next week or 2 weeks healing and getting over it and, you know, comforting yourself. But you have to deal with this for 2 weeks. 2 weeks of losing your child. And knowing that there was nothing that could have been done. There's nothing that I did wrong. There was nothing that I did wrong. And I know that there was something that I did wrong. And, you know, even though at the time I was married at that point, you know, we had gotten married. When we found out we were pregnant, we were already married. My husband was there, but you still feel so alone. You know, I called my mom the day that it happened, and I was just on the phone crying like a baby. The most hysterical cry that I probably have had, you know, since childhood, because I really felt like a child again, when that helplessness of not being able to do anything. And I guess secretly inside, even though the heart rate had slowed down, you know, I was praying to God that there would be some type of miraculous turnover of events, and just praying that he would make a way, and, you know, that the doctors are not going to be the end result of this, but science is real. You know, we live in a world now where things have advanced so far from the days when people didn't know anything. So, you know, I understood that this was God's decision. It was nothing that my doctor was making the decision for me. This was God's decision that this is what was going to be. But secretly, I kind of felt like maybe things would change. And so when it was actually happening and I was dealing with it, it was extremely difficult for me. And I just kind of prayed, and I just used my family to help me support. I didn't tell many people, because many people didn't even know I was pregnant. At that point in your pregnancy, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, you don't tell people that you're pregnant that are not really close to you, like your family members, your immediate family members. So nobody even really knew that I was pregnant. And, you know, the time came and went. I stayed positive, and I just, you know, did everything like I said. Day to day was the same. I went to work, came home, cooked, cleaned, all that great stuff. But my husband helped me through it for sure, and my mother helped me through it for sure. And I kind of like stayed to myself a little bit after that. I really didn't want to talk to anybody. So probably for like, you know, 3 months after that, I was just kind of like antisocial. And my doctor told us that we could start trying to conceive again. I think he said 4 months. This was like July, August, September, October, November. Like, yeah, like 4 months. So we started trying again in January of 2011. And we found out we were pregnant in April with my munchkin, who was the joy of my world. And then the second time getting pregnant was so easy, honestly. But I don't want this video to be too long, but I'm happy to have been able to talk about this here. I just feel like I don't know, I feel so comfortable here. But yeah, so I just wanted to let you guys know, you know, dealing with the miscarriage does not have to be the end of the world. And I guess in the next video, what I'll do is talk about how we tried getting pregnant. I mean, I know you guys all know how to get pregnant, right? But that's not what I mean, because it wasn't easy for us. Well, I don't want to say it wasn't easy, because I know some people have it real hard, but it didn't happen right away. So I guess in the next video, or an upcoming video at some point, I will talk about what we did to get pregnant, you know, what worked for us. And of course it may not work for you, but maybe that video will be helpful. And I definitely want to talk to you guys about some of my mommy stuff. I plan on making a video with my co-host tonight about some of his favorites, so you guys will get to meet him, and you'll get to see some of his favorites. We're probably going to do favorite books, or maybe I'll do favorite toys. I'm not sure just yet. Maybe I'll do them together or separately. We'll see. But that will probably be like the next video that you see. But thank you so much for coming on this journey with me, and letting me let that out to you guys. And of course, subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate the support. Follow me on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All the links are below. And as always, I love you for watching. Bye.